After a bye week on week 6, the LA Rams and the Miami Dolphins meet on Monday Night Football. The LA Rams won all three of their bye week, fresh off the bye week games. The Dolphins lost all three of their bye weeks. So I guess the question is, who got the W and who got the L? It's Dolphins Post Game Monday Night Football edition. Rams Dolphins on Dolphins Post Game. Let's get right to it on Sports for Beginners and streaming on the Ice and Behind the Benches. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fan's perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. The 2-6 Miami Dolphins enter LA, California against the Los Angeles Rams and pull out a victory against the 4-4 Los Angeles Rams. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Club Dub on Dolphins Post Game. Club Dub is the place to be. Is the season over for either of these teams yet? I don't know, but we're going to talk about both teams in Mike McDaniel and the head coach of the LA Rams. We're head coach by Sean McVay. Sean McVay and the LA Rams enter Monday Night Football on a 3-game winning streak coming off of their bye week, and it should feel sweet coming into their first loss of the bye week after winning 3 games 20-15 over the Las Vegas Raiders in week 7. Week 8, they beat the Minnesota Vikings 30-20. Of course, at the time, the Minnesota Vikings were undefeated at this point, I do believe. But the Rams beat the Minnesota Vikings anyway. 30-20 is your score in week number 8. And then the game that needed overtime, but not so fast for the LA Rams. They could do it. They could pull it off. And they'll enter home against the Miami Dolphins at a 4-4 record, with 4 wins and 4 losses to their names, end up in a 26-20 final over the Seattle Seahawks, who, of course, the Seattle Seahawks lost before they got to the LA Rams. They lost a pretty big one against the Buffalo Bills, and even a pretty big one when they picked up a win against the Falcons, 34-14. And remember, they beat the Miami Dolphins 24-3. If you haven't already heard that recap on either Sports for Beginners or either of On the Ice and Behind the Benches' platforms, please do go and do so. A link will be provided in the description of the episode below. So we hit the bye week for both the Rams and we hit the bye week for the Miami Dolphins. While it may have been sunshine and rainbows for the LA Rams going into Monday night, it doesn't feel like it's all sunshine and rainbows from here on out at this point. But they did pick up 3 victories, so that's a plus. On the Dolphins side, they end up picking up a victory after losing 3 games, and of course, that victory comes at the hands of the Rams. We'll get you the final score and break down the game coming up in just a few minutes. But the L's come off of beatdowns against the Indianapolis Colts following the bye week. 16-10 Indianapolis Colts beat the Dolphins. Get swept by the Buffalo Bills 30-27, although it looked like the Dolphins had it this time, and the Buffalo Bills proved it otherwise. And of course, who could forget the game that Tua Tagovailoa returned and played against Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals? That one was a very close game. 28-27 the final. Cardinals beat the Dolphins. Let's take a quick timeout of Dolphins Post Game here on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches, as we like to say happy Veterans Day, and lest we forget, as it was Remembrance Day, and of course it was also Veterans Day in both America and Canada. In Canada, it was called Remembrance Day, but in the United States of America, it was called Veterans Day. And as we take that break, a reminder that these teams have quite a lot of ground to make up if they want any chance of making the postseason. And we've got a Sunday night matchup with the Dolphins against the Browns. That we'll talk about more in a bit. But let's break down the game between the Rams and the Dolphins when we continue with Dolphins postgame. The game breakdown and game stats coming up next when we return.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Me too. What have I been waiting for? You didn't hear? It's probably the biggest football match this week. What do you mean? What do I mean? You've got popcorn, right? You've got your drinks. Trust me when I tell you, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm listening. Next Sunday, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, with the Bills Mafia behind them, take on Taylor Swift, the Kansas City Chiefs, and their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. I like it, but it's the same old story, right? They beat the Chiefs in the regular season 3 times in a row, yet the Chiefs end up beating the Bills in the postseason, right? That's the end of the story. It's the age-old story. Yeah, but this time it could be different. Both teams are fighting for the AFC East title. I mean, how thrilling could that be? I've got my popcorn, I've got my family day set up for a Sunday of action, and we hope you have your football day action set up as well. Don't miss Chiefs, Mahomes versus Allen and the Bills at Highmark Stadium next Sunday. 4:25 Eastern, because it's the clash of the Titans, and oh, how sweet it will be to watch this match unfold. Bills, Allen, Mahomes, Chiefs, undefeated Chiefs versus the somewhat undefeated Bills. One title, one division, one conference, one football game, a whole lot of fun. Drinks at it, snacks at it, popcorn at it. It doesn't get any better than this. Oh, I've missed this. Bills, Chiefs, Sunday, 4:25 Eastern. Oh, I've missed this. Sunday night is gonna feel a whole lot sweeter. You do know that 4:25 is like an afternoon game, right? It's a late window game. Oh, well, enjoy the football game, everybody, and enjoy watching Chiefs and the Bills play the age-old story for the AFC title division and the conference next Sunday at 4:25 Eastern. I guarantee it's gonna be a game that's worth talking about for generation after generation. Next Sunday is gonna be a classic. Just watch.
This is awesome to go across the country, to hear all the noise. It means so much to me. It should mean so much to you. Let me talk about the defense. Okay? Hey, we need a game ball per week. We got 4 sacks. We got 2 takeaways. How many touchdowns? How many touchdowns? He said it was about to be his best game. 9-3 with a sack, 2 PBUs, Calais Campbell. How about walk? 9 tackles and a pick. We had a new fullback, wide receiver, first career touchdown, Malik Washington. How about Jay Sanders? Lights out, 3 for 3. 9, 2, 4, and 8. You guys coming back? Do you think it made a difference? Hell yeah, man. You guys did a hell of a job. And then last but not least, on Veterans Day, Adam the chance, huh?
Last few weeks have been really cool watching you guys come together as a unit. Just keep that mentality, keep it rolling, and I think good things will happen. Family on three. 1, 2, 3.
That's the locker room of the Victory Tuesday show for the Dolphins as they take the victory against the Rams. How did they do it? Mike McDaniel, how did the Dolphins pull off a victory against the LA Rams? How did the Rams fall to the Dolphins? Let's break it all down. It's time now for the game breakdown. I am, of course, Thomas McGregor saying here to all of you Dolphins fans who still trust the team, but maybe the season is still long but over and we're waiting for the new season to begin. Hey, no matter what, a W is a W, and we're bringing it to you live here on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches. Happy Victory Tuesday to you. I should say Happy Victory Wednesday to you, but we've got another match to prepare for on Sunday. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Rams. Let's talk about the Dolphins, the Fins versus the Rams. I heard Mike McDaniel say what the first play of the game was for the Dolphins. It was a 18-yard touchdown pass to Mikael Washington. Mikael Washington, his first ever career NFL touchdown, an 18-yard touchdown. Jason Sanders, the kick is up, and it is good. 7-0 Dolphins over the Rams. After one quarter of play, it's the Dolphins 7, the Rams 0. Move on to the first half quarter of the first two halves, known as the second quarter of action, and it starts with a 50-yard field goal attempt nailed by Jason Sanders. Addington, the center, Bailey, the holder. It's up, it's good. The Rams may have turned the drive into a 3-and-out, but the Dolphins get into field goal range and nail a 50-yard field goal. 10-0 Dolphins over the Rams. 10-0 Dolphins over the Rams. Not so fast, says Cardi, the kicker for the LA Rams. Jay Cardi, he nails a 34-yard field goal. It's up and good. The Dolphins still have the lead, but this time the Rams are on the board. It's 10 Dolphins, Rams 3. Tick, 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 tick. Clock is ticking in the first half of the second quarter. Rams have the ball. They get to another 3-and-out by the Dolphins defense, but are able this time to nail a 55-yarder field goal up by Jay Cardi. Jay Cardi has nailed his first field goal drive, and that was a 34-yarder, and he nailed it. That made them go on the board 3-10. The Dolphins still leading 10-3. And this one, they get a little close with just 3 ticks to go in the first half, second quarter of play. Counted 55-yard field goal, up and good by Jake Hardy or JK, and it is good. The Rams are really, really close now. It's Dolphins 10-6 Rams. Dolphins at the half lead 10-6, with the Dolphins taking all of the credit in the first half. The Dolphins have the lead, and they have gained the lead, but in the last couple of 3-game leads, which are the result of their 3-game losing streak that they were on, and they were trying to snap it, they did so on Monday night. But in the last 3 times they had the lead, that was the beginning of their 3-game losing streak, which meant they had the lead going into half, but then they also lost it and lost the game. Did it happen on Monday night? No, that is not what happened on Monday night. Monday night rolls around with the second half of quarter action, You get this only play from the Miami Dolphins. Tua to the cheetah, the roadrunner. Meep meep. Tyreek Hill for a 1 yard touchdown. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill. And the Dolphins are probably going to run away with this one, fans of the Dolphins Nation. It's 17 Miami Dolphins with Jason Sanders nailing the extra point. It's 17. And we've got a 17 Dolphins lead to 6 for the LA Rams. Tyreek Hill from Tua, a 1 yard touchdown, and oh, how sweet it was. Fourth and final quarter of the second half rolls around. The Rams know what's at stake. They're like, we could lose this game. We need to do something, and we need to do it now. How do we do this? Simple. You just do what you've been doing all game, is kick a field goal. Jay Cardi, he kicks a 53-yarder field goal. It's up and good. And the Dolphins, well, they have the lead 17-6, have now lost that lead of 17-6. It is now 17-9. 17-9. They still lead, but the Rams have 9 points on the board now. And the Dolphins, yes, they have 17, but earlier it was 17 Dolphins to 6 Rams. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Not so fast when the Dolphins have the ball. 9:11 left to go in the game. 9 minutes, 11 seconds left to go in the game. Jason Sanders sees the offense, goes a 3-and-out against the LA Rams. And this is what happens. He nails a 37-yard field goal. It's up, it's good. The Dolphins lead increases again. It's now 20 Dolphins to the 9 of the Rams. 9 points Rams, 20 points the Dolphins. Rams next possession, 3-and-out for the offense. The defense of Miami has been on Matt Stafford all game long, and Jay Cardi is the only one that's been able to score points. This one, 20 from 22 yards, nails it, and it is Dolphins 20, Rams 12. Anything you could do, I can do. My team's got the lead. I don't really need to do this. I could just miss the kick, but I'm going to nail it anyways, says Jason Sanders. This one's a 50-yard field goal for the Dolphins kicker in Jason Sanders. And yes, with Addington, the center, and Bailey, the holder, it's up, it's good. The Dolphins lead increases from 20 to 23. It's now 23 Dolphins, 12 LA Rams. Tick, 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 tick. Rams on the ball. Tick, 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 tick. Clock winding down. The Dolphins know they've won the game already. They just need to keep stopping the Rams and see what happens. A 3-and-out happens on probably the last game possession for the LA Rams this ball game in Monday night's action. And it's now a 31-yard field goal for Jay Carty. And Jay Carty, well, what does he do? Just like every other field goal he has done, he has nailed it. And so he'll nail this one. And unfortunately, the Rams will come up short 23-15 with the Dolphins at 23 points and the Rams at 15. Hey, listen, field goals help you guys, but you needed touchdowns. Unfortunately, the Dolphins defense had all the answers for you. Another break in the action coming up in just a few minutes, but let's get you the game stats of this game, as that is the game breakdown. Let's talk about it from possession standpoint. The Rams had the ball for 30 minutes and 12 seconds. The Dolphins had the ball for like 29 minutes and 48 seconds. They made 15 first downs, while the Rams made 20 first downs. 16 of those were Rams first down passing plays. 4 of those were first down rushing games. One of them was a penalty for the Dolphins, so it was an automatic first down on the penalty marker. And 3 of them were on the ground, and 11 of them were in the air for passing. Put those tallies together, what do you get? 15 first down chances for the Dolphins and 20 first down chances for the Rams. Teams never saw fourth down because they never went for it on fourth down, so we don't need to talk about that. No conversions, no chances to convert on them. We don't need to talk about that. However, on third down efficiency, the Dolphins were 6 of 13. They converted just 6 times out of 13 chances on third down. The Rams, on the other hand, converted just 3 times out of 12 chances on third down. How do you think we got to the total yardage that I'm about to bring you? Well, let's talk about it before I actually give you the final tally of the total yards in what took just 53 plays for the Dolphins and only 68 plays for the LA Rams. As far as yards per play go, the Dolphins were 4.5 yards per play and the Rams were 4.8 yards per play. In passing yards, we had a total passing yards of 207 passing yards for the Miami Dolphins and 293 passing yards for the LA Rams. As we enter completion attempts, let's talk about let's answer the question. Let's not talk about the question. Let's answer the question of football being rigged. Is football being rigged? It felt like it in this game where the both quarterbacks couldn't even hold on to the football. Let's talk about it through the completions and answer that question. If football is rigged or not, let's answer that question, okay? Let's answer it. Okay, so for Tua and the Miami Dolphins, of course, they're the winners of this game. He made just 20 completions out of 28. He made 20 completed passes out of 28 attempts on the completion attempts. Matthew Stafford, what did he do? Well, he got 32 completed passes for a rather 46 completion attempts. Tua's yards for completed pass were about the same about a number that Matt Stafford's completion attempt yard for pass were. However, Matt's yards per pass with the Rams, the yards per pass for the Rams with Matt Stafford at the quarterback was just 5.5 according to our CBC. Our CBS Sports app. We're using our CBS Sports app for the information. Download the app, of course, and follow your favorite team, etc., etc., etc. Anyways, Matt Stafford was 5.1 yards per pass. He got sacked 4 times for a loss of 36 yards, not 40, 36 yards. Tua got sacked 3 times for a loss of about the same amount of yards, 36 yards. Yet with the Dolphins and him at the helm of the quarterback in yards per pass were both 5.5 for Tua and the Dolphins. Coincidence? I don't know. I think not. I think this game was pretty good, played for both the Rams and the Miami Dolphins, but there's a lot of questions surrounding this game. And I'll get to those questions in just a little bit. So is football rigged? From the quarterback side, maybe. Passing games seem to be doing their job. Let's see if the running game seem to be doing their job as well. We already mentioned one guy who got the rushing touchdown for the Miami Dolphins in Macau, Washington. You heard it in the victory speech. His first ever career NFL touchdown. Congratulations to him. Speaking of first career NFL touchdowns, like Macau, Washington in the Monday Nighter against the Rams. The Dolphins' yards per rush, while they only rushed 22 times, was about 3.0 compared to a 3.9 average yards per rush for the LA Rams, and they only rushed 18 times for a total of 70 yards. The Dolphins' rushing yards, 67 yards. It's a game-old question that some people hate and some people love in football. Interceptions, pick sixes, you name it, you had it in this game. Both quarterbacks, Matthew and Tua, also threw picks in this game. So not only did they throw you touchdowns, but they also threw picks, and both and I think that should be surprising, but it's not surprising, I think. One interception thrown by Miami and one interception thrown by the Los Angeles Rams. So is it rigged? Yes. Yes. This one I can highly say football is definitely rigged if you're throwing interceptions, even if it's not for no reason. Talk about touchdowns, and while Matthew Stafford didn't even have Rams have touchdowns on either side of the board, there were no touchdowns on either side of the board, whether it was defensive special teams or it was passing or even having a rushing touchdown. The only guys that really got a touchdown in this game, two touchdowns to be exact, one on the ground for the Dolphins and one on the air, that was Tyreek Hill's touchdown for the Miami Dolphins. Speaking of the air and the ground game, of the passing and the running game, let's talk about the red zone and let's talk about the goal to go efficiency. So the goal to go efficiency for your Miami Dolphins, they got it on the one chance they got it. They converted 1 for 1. The Rams, well, they had their chance and they did not convert. Sorry. Same goes for the red zone. The Miami Dolphins had 3 chances. They converted 2 times in the red zone, but the LA Rams 3 chances and still not enough to get in. 0 for 3 on that one. Oh boy, this was a bad game for the Rams. It was terrible. I think the penalties made it even better because according to the penalty marker, while they never got a penalty for automatic first down, I'll tell you what they did get. They got 6 penalties out of 64 penalties called against them. Meanwhile, for the Miami Dolphins here, they got one penalty handed to them, and I think that was the automatic first down, but the remainder of the game, the penalties went to the LA Rams, and understandably so, but I don't know. Some would say that might have been unfair because the Dolphins had 15 penalties to give, and they only got one penalty. The rest all came against the Rams. 6 for 64. Wow, that's a pretty good job by our team, Miami Dolphins. That's pretty good job by the Miami Dolphins. Pretty good job. Mention interceptions being thrown, and due to time constraints, we're just going to talk about the interception yards and then take another break in the action. I do have some action to bring out to you with our week 10 recap. Of course, this is the 10th week of the season, and here comes number 11, meaning we are just a game away from our second match between the Patriots and the Dolphins. This will also be the last match the Dolphins and the Patriots see each other this season, but you never really know what could go on the rest of the way. So interception yards for the Miami Dolphins, they only get one interception and they return it for like 5 yards. The LA Rams, the Tua pick from the LA Rams guy goes for 16 yards. That's pretty big margin than what the Dolphins got, which was an interception for 5 yards. But still, that does not change the fact that the Dolphins are winners in this game, and we'll reiterate it on the back half of this show when we close out the show, which is coming up. Rams, the only team that gets kickoff yards, and in just 2 kickoffs from the Miami Dolphins, they run it for return yards of 40 yards. And you know what? We'll talk about the punt yards as well. The Miami Dolphins get punt yards for 21 yards, 0-0 for them on kickoff yards, and of course 0-0 for both teams on safeties, as well as 0-0 for punt yards for the LA Rams. They did return the ball for 56 yards, and of course the Dolphins returned the ball for 26 yards. All right, coming up next, we got our Week 10 recap, and I've got some game balls of the game to bring out as well. So due to time constraints, we'll touch on just the primetime games, and we'll even touch on, of course, some of the action that was on Sunday's games, but we do have the game balls to get to. And of course, we've got our next games previews for both the LA Rams and the Miami Dolphins, which are now sitting at a record going into Week 11 with a record of 3-6 for the Dolphins. And for the LA Rams, they're sitting at a record at 4-5, which means they would hope that they could have been 5-4 on the other side with picking up their 5th victory of the season, but that ended up going to the Miami Dolphins tonight, so that was not the case. Will it be the case in week 11 to make it 5-5 going into, I believe it is week number 12? I don't know, and neither do any of us others know. Will we know if the Dolphins pick up a victory against the Las Vegas Raiders? All of that still to come when Dolphins Post Game continues. The Game 10 recap is next when we continue. Stay with us.
Serenity Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on Serenity Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on Serenity Radio.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
The month of November is a sign of remembrance on November 11th, and that was the day the Rams and the Dolphins met for this Monday night matchup that we're recapping on Tuesday. Was also noted in America as the Veterans Day. So what happened on a week 10 of Veterans Day and of course Remembrance Day here in Canada? Let's find out our week 10 matchups, starting with the primetime matchups. The Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson going head-to-head against Joe Burrow. And the final score tally, the Baltimore Ravens improved to a 7-3 record, while the Cincinnati Bengals get a record of 4-6, losing to the Rams 35-34. Sunday Night Football for you. Let's get it. This one featured the 9-1, now 8-1 heading into week 11 Detroit Lions versus the 5-4 Houston Texans heading into this matchup. 6-4 Texans heading into week 11. And who else but a overtime match? No, it's going to be an extra game. It's going to be a regulation game, and that's going to be a 26-23 finals. Pretty close. The Detroit Lions improved to 8-1 on the season. The Texans improved to 6-4 on the season. 6 wins, 4 losses. 4 losses, 6 wins for the Houston Texans. Let's cut back to the early game on Sunday at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time. It's Veterans Day and Remembrance Day in Germany with the Giants and the Panthers. Panthers improved to a record of 3-7, picking up their victory with a 20-17 OT victory. This one needed overtime. And the Giants could just not go away until the Panthers made them go away. They improved to 3-7 on the season. The Giants improved to 2-8 on the season. Well, actually, their record just goes to 2-8. It's not really an improvement, but who else but Pinheiro nailing a 36-yard field goal up and good, and the ball game is over. 17-20 is your final, with the Panthers beating the Giants 20-17. Wow. We got some time here, so let's take it to undefeated Chiefs Kingdom against the Denver Broncos. Are the Broncos really the gonna team that's gonna end the Chiefs streak? I hope so. Chiefs have not lost a game since Christmas of last year. Would this be the game against Denver where they lose their undefeated streak of 8 games? It was an 8-game winning streak for them, and their record going into this week is 8-0 against the 5-4 Broncos. 5-4 Broncos. Hey, that's a great idea. Let's pin the 5-4 Broncos against the team that's really, really good in Patrick Mahomes. Oh, and also, Swifties, I know you're out there and I know you're listening. Let's bring Taylor to the ball game as well. Bo Nix gets things started with a short pass to DV for 6 yards, 7-0 Broncos. Harrison Butker says, not on my watch, you don't. It's 7-3 Chiefs, with the Broncos leading 7-3. Second quarter action continues. It's Bo Nix with another deep pass. This one to Colton Sutton, or rather, I believe it's C. Sutton for 32 yards. It's 14 Broncos, 3 Chiefs. Chiefs undefeated streak, end against Broncos? Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce. Hey, Swiftie fans, how do you feel about that? Travis Kelce, 2-yard touchdown. It's 14 Broncos, 10 Kansas City. This is getting interesting. Harrison Bunker at the second half of the third and, of course, the fourth quarter nails a 28-yard field goal and a 20-yard field goal, and the Chiefs have all of a sudden taken the lead. Really? 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 Did they? Did they? Did they really? Did they really take it? Did they really go 9-0? Or does Denver have a chance? Loss of 3 yards on a 2nd and 8, and a gain of a yard on 2nd and 8, I should say. 3rd and 7, a loss of 3 yards. Here we go. It comes down to this. 4th and 10. Lutz, 35-yard field goal. Oh, and it's blocked. The Chiefs are 9-0, and the Denver Broncos had it in the bag, but they just could not take the lead back from the Chiefs on a 35-yard field goal. It's blocked. Jay Williams with the recovery, and the Chiefs will be celebrating all night long. 9-0 going into the next match on the recap. And that's the enemy of the enemy. It's the showdown in week 11. So why don't we go to the showdown in Indianapolis? Josh Allen versus Joe Flacco. Next week, it's Allen versus Mahomes. This week, it was Flacco versus Allen. Hope the Bills have a game plan against the Chiefs after beating them 3 seasons in a row in the regular season, but the Chiefs are 9-0. So I hope both teams have a game plan. The Bills improved to 8-2 on the season with a chance to get the AFC East title clinched and a chance to get the conference. What a showdown week 11's gonna be, as they end up beating the now 4-6 Indianapolis Colts, who were 4-5 heading into this game against Buffalo. They lose it 30-20. Speaking of the Patriots, when we talked about earlier, as that's one of the upcoming matchups for the Dolphins, it's the Bears 4-4 against the 3-6 Patriots. or rather the 2-6, or rather 2-7 Patriots. Mac Jones and the New England Patriots against the Chicago Bears. They beat the Chicago Bears 19-3, and that was a great game. How about this one for you? The Steelers in the Commander City of Washington, D.C. Russell Wilson at quarterback, and he's going against Jaden Daniels versus Russell Wilson. This should be fun. It's 28-27, the final, with the Steelers having the best record they probably have had all season long, 7-2 going into week 11. And the Washington Commanders are 7-3. So if one team was 7-2 already going into this game, and one team was 7-1 going into this game, I guess you could say that if it was 6-2 for the Steelers, and they just won 7, and you already had a team who had 7-2, that team's record improved to 7-3, while the other team's record improved to 7-2. To Arizona we go, and it's the Jets. Oh, whatever, you get the picture. It's the Jets versus the Cardinals, and the Cardinals did exactly what they did week 1 against the Buffalo Bills. Of course, they lost that game, and then they came out firing the very next couple of weeks until they ended up facing the Dolphins, where things kind of slowed down there the following weeks leading up to the Dolphins match. But they did exactly what they did the following weeks before that, and they smothered the Jets 31-6. No, they didn't smother the Jets. You know what they did? They smacked the Jets in the face. This begs the question, did the Jets quit when they went to face Arizona, or did they just say, we've already quit, teams can beat us as bad as we want, we really don't care? I seriously don't think that's the case. We're getting up to our game balls of the game, and of course we've done our game stats and the game breakdowns. We're getting up to that in just a little bit, but why don't we talk about where those records are, since the Arizona Cardinals absolutely smacked the Jets and laid the smackdown 31-6. That's record coming into this game. Obviously, that record looks like it was maybe 3-6 on the season. They were hoping to be 4-6 on the season with their 4th victory. Cardinals, well, they were already they were already 5-4 on the season. They already had victory number 5. They were looking for victory number 6, and they got victory number 6, hoping not for loss number 5, 31-6. Speaking of down years, because I think that's what the Jets are having, another one of those down years, and I'm sure there are a lot of teams that are having down years. Speaking of down years, let's talk about Tyler Rowland, and I'm sorry, Tyler Rowland, if I'm bringing your Titans into this. You know I love the content you provide on Locked On NFL, as well as Locked On Titans, where it's your team every day. But we gotta talk about this. It's the Chargers of Los Angeles taking on the Tennessee Titans, and all you can muster in this game, Tennessee Titans, is 17-27. Make no mistake about it, the Tennessee Titans did play their very best football, in my opinion. Of course, it ended up in a loss. Their record is now 2-7 on the season going into week 11, with the Chargers record going from 5-3 to 6-3, with the victory in week 10 at 27-17. So make no mistake about it, it was a good effort by Tennessee, just not good enough. Speaking of smackdowns, let's talk about another team that got the absolute smack face of them all. It's the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? How about them Eagles? They ended up beating the Dallas Cowboys 34-6 on this Sunday action of Week 10. Wow, how about them Eagles? How about them Cowboys? Is usually the term phrase we use in Dallas, but in this one, I think you should say, how about them Eagles? And in that case, I say fly, Eagles, fly. That's going to do it for a little bit of the Week 10 recap. Of course, we had just a few games to go there. We're going to take our final break at Dolphins Post Game and get into the game balls of the game on the other side and wrap up Dolphins Post Game with the Dolphins getting the victory Monday night against the LA Rams. The attendance record coming up as well, and our Dolphins player of the season on this note of the game is also coming up if we have time to do that. Because we have such a great match going on Week 11, I think it's only fair we hear from head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs and his thoughts on being 9-0. Because according to him, being 9-0 made him feel old, and he was getting too old for these victory speeches, which promotes the question, is it time for the Chiefs to finally lose a football game? I don't know, but I like their chances. Next up on deck, it's the Buffalo Bills. Coach Reed of the Kansas City Chiefs, I'll give the floor to you, and let's hear what the Kansas City Chiefs fans think of it. It's the Week 10 victory speech from your coach, Andy Reid of the Kansas City Chiefs, 9-0. Congratulations, Chiefs, for making it to 9-0 on the season. That's a point of 15 games being won by the Kansas City Chiefs. Dolphins post game wraps up on the other side with our game balls of the game, the Dolphins player of the season, if there's time, the attendance record, all of that coming up next on Dolphins post game. Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs of 9-0. Kingdom Chiefs, your victory speech, please and thank you.
I'll get way too old for you. Listen, great job sticking with it. Leo, George, whoever it was. Leo. All right, Superman. Hey, listen, how about those cheese? All right, so we're back on normal schedule. We start up inter-treatments, all that stuff. We're rolling. Got a good Buffalo team. We'll get to. Yep. I'm proud of you guys for just hanging with it. And Leo, I'll treat you to a cheeseburger.
Today, baby, all phases. Kick the feet up. This is relaxation time. Let's get back to work. Chiefs on 2. 1, 2.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Hey, man, it's a heck of a win on the road, right? On the road, didn't get off to a great start. Hey, guys going down, guys stepping up, man. Gritty win. Proud of you guys, man. Give yourself a lot of good in that game. Defense taking the ball away. Special teams, D-Bass, Sam Martin punting the heck down the pass. And then offensively, that last drive, that was elite, man. Elite. We needed 17.
get tonight. Win on three, 1, 2, 3.
In on 3, 1, 2, 3, win. Welcome back to Dolphins Post Game. Final edition of Dolphins Post Game, and of course the only edition of Rams and Dolphins. This has been prime time Monday Night Football. Of course, I am your host, Thomas McGregor. The Chiefs and the Bills are the topic of conversation. Now, some of you might be asking, why did you bring us the victory speeches of both the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Chiefs? But more specifically, why'd you bring the Chiefs and the Dolphins into this? This is our victory speech day. Well, I brought the Chiefs and the Bills in because I don't know if many of you know this, Dolphins fans, and I'm sure the NFL knows this, but I'm not sure if we all know this yet, but the AFC East door is closing for the division. And we all know that the Buffalo Bills are just one game away from clinching the AFC East title for a fifth straight time. And we also know that the Chiefs are chasing history, being 9 wins and no losses. Like zero losses. They have not lost a game, and not a week goes by that they haven't lost a game. They are 9 wins and 0 losses. 9-0. That is the record for the Chiefs. Will that change on week 11 against the Buffalo Bills? We will find out on week 11. A couple of things before we get into our game balls of the game and turn to wrap up this show with our Dolphins player of the season if we have time. Of course, we've got the attendance record that we're going to get into just before we sign off. But the couple of things to get into, the Browns and the Packers, the Raiders and the Hawks were on a bye week. So we already know that the Raiders are coming to face the Dolphins in week 11. So we know what the Raiders week 11 matchup is. Do we know what the Packers and the Browns and the Seahawks games are? Let's check it out. For the Seahawks, we have the 49ers in week 11. That should be a good matchup for all the Seattle Seahawks fans. For the Green Bay Packers, you got the Chicago Bears. For the Browns, we've got a match between the New Orleans Saints. That game at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. New Orleans Saints, 1 o'clock Eastern Time against Cleveland Browns. And you got the Packers game, 1 o'clock Eastern Time against the Bears, the Chicago Bears. So it's the 6-3 Bears going up against the Bears, who are 4-5. They're hoping to be 5-5 on the season, getting a victory against the Green Bay Packers. Will it happen? We'll see. 2-7 Las Vegas Raiders have the bye week, and they come to face the Miami Dolphins in Hard Rock Stadium at 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. But of course, will that be the topic of conversation in a club dub for the W's, or will it be another L for the Dolphins, resulting in the Dolphins record as they enter the Las Vegas Raiders is home country with a record of 3-6. Could it be 3-7, or could it be 4-6 in favor of the Dolphins? We won't know until next Sunday. We'll have a game for you on Dolphins Post Game to talk about, and we'll have that recap probably on both platforms on Monday. You'll catch it Monday. We'll see if it's a victory Monday. We'll see if it's a regular Monday, but a victory Monday for the Raiders. We just don't know till the week has been played. Here's what we do know is that the clock is indeed ticking, and in an 18-week season with 10 weeks gone, we now just have only 8 weeks left of action, which means we have 7 weeks left once we're done week 11. We only have about 7 weeks of football action left, and of course we do have the playoffs coming up, but with only 7 weeks left, because we are now into the 11th week of the season, which is this Sunday, and of course it starts on Thursday, ends on a Monday. I'm sure a lot of us are wondering, where do the Dolphins stand at this point in the game? Where do they all stand? Well, maybe we'll talk about that after the Raiders game with the Dolphins on Sunday. So something to think about during the Raiders game. Something to think about during the Raiders and Dolphins game this Sunday, week 11 of the season. All right, time now for the game balls of the game. Due to time constraints, we're gonna do it in just one game ball for each. We will have one pick me up, or rather two pick me ups for both teams. And I gotta say that I actually think if we look at it from the LA Rams perspective, I gotta say that although Matthew Stafford had his ups and downs, of course he never had a touchdown, but he did have a pick. And of course, you hate when you hear the word pick because that just means the quarterback wasn't really up to it today, or wasn't really up to it on Monday night. He's going to get the first pick me up for me. Before I get to the game ball of the game, I mean, it's pretty obvious who my game ball of the game is going to go to. But you take a look at a guy like Matt Stafford or Matthew Stafford, or however you want to say the guy's name in quarterback material. I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford. And you take a look at how he did in the game. Yes, well, he did get 293 yards, which was the total yardage and passing game. We probably didn't get to that, but that's okay when we did it in the game stats. He did, as I mentioned, when we talked about completion attempts, make 32 out of 46 completion attempts, 32 completed passes, 46 attempts to make those completions, averaging just 6.4 yards a carry. Of course, the one interception. We'll talk about who that interception was. And the interceptor of Tua was none other than Christian Rosboom. Christian Rosboom, the linebacker of the LA Rams. He got in this game and he made the only interception for 16 yards. My player of the game, though, for the LA Rams, despite losing 23-15, and although it feels like it was a bad game for the LA Rams, or rather a terrible game, I mean, I still think it was kind of entertaining, just not to the extent of the LA Rams fans. And I understand that completely. It's very tough to win in this league. We all know that by watching the football. We all know that. It's very tough to win in any type of sport, especially in the NFL. It's very tough to win. They do lose by 8 points, 23-15, of course, the score. So the Dolphins did beat the LA Rams on Monday Night Football with a final score of 23-15, which equals to 8 points that the Rams were down. They were down by 8 points. They needed a 2-point conversion and maybe a touchdown, and then maybe there's an L on the Dolphins' door knocking. I mean, we got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, the kicker of Joshua Carty, that was his name, Joshua Carty. I mean, he had an interesting game. Yes, his longest was 55 yards, but he did miss a few field goals. He definitely converted for 5 out of 6 tries he had. So he had like 6 tries on the field goals and nailed 5 of those field goals. He could have nailed a 5th one had it not been for some of them that he did miss. And I don't know what ones he missed field goals on, but I do know that he goes 5-6 in a Monday Night Football match, primetime action against the Miami Dolphins. But he is my LA Rams player of the game because he did his very best to keep the Rams in it. And unfortunately, the game was in the point where it was too little too late to make more field goals, and you needed to start scoring touchdowns. Maybe if Matthew Stafford and the offense give you extra points to speak of, maybe this game goes the other way with the Rams getting a victory and the Dolphins getting a loss. But the fact remains clear. The Dolphins win this game. Their record improves to 3-6 on the season. That's their 3rd straight victory this season. And the Rams' record improves to 4-5 on the season, with their 5th loss picked up on Monday night. When we talk about the Miami Dolphins here on Game Balls of the Game, really I want to give the Game Ball of the Game to Tua Tagovailoa with his performance. but he did throw a touchdown, he did get a pick, and he did get sacked. But although he got 207 yards and averaged only 7.4 yards a carry for a completion attempt of 20 pass completes and 28 attempts to complete those 20 passes, think the real game ball of the game as he reserves a what's it called? Oh yeah, pick me up. He reserves the first pick me up of the game for the Dolphins. He did kind of lend there in the game balls, but he's a close second there. I think the guy that really deserves to be up on the game ball. There was actually two Dolphin game balls of the game I want to give to, and one of them is Devon Achane, averaging just 3.1 yards a carry. His longest was 15 yards, but he finished Monday night with 37 yards rushing on just 12 attempts. Another guy to look at to make it our second game ball of the game. This would have went to Tyreek Hill, given he was the only guy that got a touchdown. But if you look at a receiving end and you think Odom Beckham Jr. doesn't need a chance to get some credit here, well, you'd be wrong, because not only did he and Macau Washington set up this game, but they also gave Macau Washington a game ball in the victory speech, as we heard early on in the show from Mike McDaniel's victory speech. He said that was his first NFL career touchdown as a Miami Dolphin, and congratulations to him, Washington. Congratulations to you. It took you 2 targets, 1 completed pass on the 2 targets, and it was 17 yards being your chance for your longest, and of course you averaged just 17 yards per carry. Odom Beckham Jr., he got 2 targets, 2 receptions for 17 yards. His longest was 11 yards, but he averaged just 8.5 a carry. And if you look at Tyreek Hill, he got the only touchdown of the game, of course, on the air after getting 4 targets and 3 completed passes from Tua. 16 yards was his finish. His longest was 12 yards, and he averaged just 5.3 a carry. The real game ball of the game for me, really, though, is we got to talk about Jason Sanders. 3 for 3 in field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points, 50 yards being his longest field goal. Well, if you could do it with defense, if you could do it with offense, if you could do it with run game, if you could do it with passing game, minus the interceptions, I think you got a pretty good chance at making the postseason, Dolphins Nation. I think we got a pretty good chance of doing it, but the clock is really, really ticking, and we got to start rocking up wins. That was number 1, and that was our 3rd win of the season. But can we get more wins on the season? I don't know, and I'm wondering if you know that as well. I mean, it's gonna be a squeeze to try and do it against the Las Vegas Raiders, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I wanted to talk about the interceptor against Matthew Stafford. Who was that interceptor? Well, that guy who got the only interception of the game for just 5 yards was none other than Anthony Walker. Anthony Walker, 1 interception, 5 yards, and of course no touchdowns for it, so no pick six, but a decent pick, a decent interception. And that's all she wrote for the game balls of the game. Our Dolphins player of the season for this one, I said it was Tyreek Hill the last time in one of the Dolphin post game shows, given the way he has gone this season. But I think the one that really is showing up in this season right now has to be Jason Sanders. Now, I know I said we do this time per minute. We do have some time before we close out the show with the attendance record coming up in just a minute from now. But after doing 56 yards as his longest in his career right now on the 2024 season, actually. That's the 2024 season, actually. Also manages to make just 17 out of 21 field goals this season with a picture perfect 81.0. So 81.0 yards for carry for Jason Sanders. This guy seems to be doing really, really well. He had, in a game that was 39-30, whether that was a Dolphin win, a Dolphin loss, whatever the case was, if it was 39-30, he made 6 out of 6 field goals. So he nailed all 6 field goal attempts that he had on kicking percentages. That's pretty good for Jason Sanders this season. When it was 20 or 29, when it was 20-29, it was perfect 3 for 3. And of course, if it's 50 plus, he's been 6 out of 8. He's nailed 6 out of 8 field goals if it's 50 plus. Extra points speak for themselves. He hasn't missed an extra point at all this season. He is 12 for 12 in extra point kick attempts. There you have it. There is a 23-15 victory in Club Dub for our Victory Tuesday, or rather Victory Wednesday, which is probably when you'll be hearing this on both platforms for Sports for Beginners and, of course, on the ice and behind the benches, which is taking over Penguins Wednesday Hockey until Penguins Wednesday Hockey returns on November 20th, which is when we're going to return the action of Penguins Wednesday Hockey. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that action. The Dolphins get ready to face the LA Rams' next opponent that they've already faced, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders, who are on the bye week, but now it's against the Dolphins for their next game. And then we've got for the LA Rams, team number 2 that's coming up for the Dolphins after the Raiders. It's the Patriots at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Let's take it one game at a time and one win at a time, because a win is a win at the end of the day. It will be 1 o'clock starts for both teams in their next matchup between the Raiders and the Patriots. And then, of course, the final matchup between the Dolphins and the Patriots comes your way next Sunday, week 12 of the season. 1 o'clock start time in Highmark Stadium against the Patriots. It's going to be a good one, I know. Then into the snowy tundra of Lambeau Field. The rainy, snowy tundra of Lambeau Field, Thursday night, November 28th at 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. That's the time of the kickoff. It's Green Bay Packers versus the Miami Dolphins. 8:20 is the start time for the Miami Dolphins against the Green Bay Packers. Don't you dare miss that one. That's going to be a good one at Lambeau Field. And the team that we end off the season with, the New York Jets, the first meeting will be on Sunday, week number 14 of the season at 1 p.m. Eastern time. 1 p.m. Eastern time against the New York Jets. What will the record be by the time the Dolphins and the Jets are facing each other? We will see what happens the rest of the way for the New York Jets season, and of course the Miami Dolphins season. Then it's a quick trip to Houston Texans for a matchup against Stephon Diggs and the Houston Texans. We get a match against the 49ers, also known as the finale match of Highmark Stadium action, with the 49ers hosting the Dolphins in Highmark Stadium. It's the Dolphins and the 49ers, 4:25 Eastern time on CBS or wherever you could find the game being streamed. That should be a great one. And then, of course, it's the Sunday night football match everybody's probably wanting to watch. It's Cleveland Browns. It's the Dolphins. We mentioned them earlier in the show, and that is the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins. 8:20 is the start time on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a great one. And then, of course, it's the Jets to finish off the season. And weeks complete. The Dolphins take care of business against the Rams. And they make sure that they're going to get another W against the Las Vegas Raiders. Will it happen? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Do you know? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens on Sunday. We hope it happens. It's another Club Dub episode on the way. If that does happen, or it's just a regular Sunday or Monday when it's being recorded, when Dolphins Post Game's coming to you, it's just a regular Monday coming up if the Raiders beat the Dolphins. We will see what happens. We're cutting down to the time where it's time for the attendance record. So we're just going to review the next 3 games, not including the Patriots, which we already talked about. That's the next topic of conversation for the LA Rams falling to the Miami Dolphins after being perfect on the bye week. 3 wins in a row, including an overtime victory over the Seattle Seahawks. Final score of the game, again, 26-20 over the Seattle Seahawks. The next games after the Patriots include an 8:20 start time on Sunday Night Football against the the Philadelphia Eagles. We move into like 5 minutes after 4 p.m. with a 4:05 matchup on Fox against the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints will host the LA Rams. And then it's the Buffalo Bills coming to town for a 4:25 start against the Buffalo Bills. All right, time for the wrap-up of Dolphins Post Game. Dolphins not only snap a 3-game losing streak, but they also snap a 3-game winning streak for the LA Rams, which now begins a 1-game losing streak for the LA Rams as they come up against the New England Patriots. Can the Patriots beat the LA Rams? I don't know. I like their chances, but we'll see what the Patriots do against the LA Rams. I'm rooting for both teams that we cover here on Dolphins Post Game to see what happens for both Week 11 matchups. Of course, we have the Las Vegas Raiders up next on Dolphins Post Game, and up next on this 18-week schedule, we wrap it up with the New York Jets on the final week of the season. Some big news coming for you on Dolphins Post Game, or rather Sports for Beginners, on the side of a brand new edition of Penguins Post Game. I have some news to bring out to Sports for Beginners, but we don't have time to bring it out to you right now. So, with that being said, at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California be the area, and of course, SoFi Stadium be the venue. This game came to an attendance record of Miami Dolphin fans and Los Angeles Rams fans of 72,474. That is 72,474. Ron Torbert being the referee of the game. Up next for the Dolphins, it's the Vegas Raiders Sunday, and it's a Sunday match with the Patriots for the Rams. Patriots-Rams next Sunday. Vegas Raiders next Sunday for the Dolphins. And either the Rams or the Dolphins continue, or rather bounce back from their losing streak or their win streak. We'll see what happens on Sunday, Week 11 of the season. Quick final reminder before we get into that sign-off. Quick final reminder. We are just about getting down to the wire. Means by the time we've hit the end of Week 11, what was 8 weeks left of the season has now become 7 weeks of the season, which will become heading into week number 12. 6 weeks left of football remaining. So we now have 7 weeks left of football action, but 6 weeks are coming up fast, and there's only 6 weeks left of football action. Will the Dolphins make a push? Can the Rams make a push for the playoffs? Who knows? And we don't know that until we watch the games go final. That is it for another Dolphins edition of Dolphins Football on Sports for Beginners, and of course on the ice and behind the benches. That's on the ice and behind the benches with Dolphins Football, and of course Sports for Beginners with Dolphins Football as well. The next team of conversation is the Vegas Raiders. So all the best of luck to all of you who tuned in to Rams and Dolphins Monday Night Football edition. Next, it's a Sunday night, it's a Sunday afternoon match between the Raiders, and of course it's a Sunday afternoon match between the Patriots for the Rams. Can the Rams bounce back from this loss against the Miami Dolphins? Can the Dolphins get on a 3-game winning streak or more than just 3 games? Those answers to be answered on the next edition of Dolphins Post Game. My name is Thomas McGregor, and this has been Dolphins football on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches. Go enjoy your Victory Tuesday, Victory Wednesday, Victory, whatever you want to call it, football fans. I will see you after the Dolphins take on the Raiders for another edition of Dolphins post-game show on Sports for Beginners and on the ice and behind the benches. Go enjoy the victory. Fins up as always for all of those Dolphins fans. Let's go Rams against the Patriots. But fins up for the Dolphins fans. Our closing message is next. I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Me too. What have I been waiting for? You didn't hear? It's probably the biggest football match this week. What do you mean? What do I mean? You've got popcorn, right? You've got your drinks. Trust me when I tell you, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm listening. Next Sunday, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, with the Bills Mafia behind them, take on Taylor Swift, the Kansas City Chiefs, and their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. I like it, but it's the same old story, right? They beat the Chiefs in the regular season 3 times in a row, yet the Chiefs end up beating the Bills in the postseason, right? That's the end of the story. It's the age-old story. Yeah, but this time it could be different. Both teams are fighting for the AFC East title. I mean, how thrilling could that be? I've got my popcorn. I've got my family day set up for a Sunday of action, and we hope you have your football day action set up as well. Don't miss Chiefs, Mahomes versus Allen and the Bills at Highmark Stadium next Sunday. 4:25 Eastern, because it's the clash of the Titans, and oh, how sweet it will be to watch this match unfold. Bills, Allen, Mahomes, Chiefs, undefeated Chiefs versus the somewhat undefeated Bills. One title, one division, one conference, one football game, a whole lot of fun. Drinks at it, snacks at it, popcorn at it. It doesn't get any better than this. Oh, I've missed this. Bills, Chiefs, Sunday, 4:25 Eastern. Oh, I've missed this. Sunday night is gonna feel a whole lot sweeter. You do know that 4:25 is like an afternoon game, right? It's a late window game. Oh, well, enjoy the football game, everybody, and enjoy watching Chiefs and the Bills play the age-old story for the AFC title division and the conference next Sunday at 4:25 Eastern. I guarantee it's gonna be a game that's worth talking about for generation after generation. Next Sunday is gonna be a classic. Just watch.